Hey everyone! So we're finally here at our mid-year ranking. I'm so excited. So this is from January to June, the end of June. So I'm filming this pretty close to the end of June, so the last two books I am in the middle of, but they're both rereads, so I think it's pretty fair that I know where they're gonna go. So I think we'll go ahead and start. Let me go through the categories here. I don't know if I'm looking the right direction, so we'll just have to deal with that. So we have, the top is going to be new favorite. Those are for just my 5 stars. I'm going to try to not put too many in that category. So we have new favorite. So that's going to be just my very, very tops. An awesome book. Please don't be offended if a really good book is an awesome. Awesome means it's great. It's just not like S tier. A good book. I feel like a lot of people stress out about like the middle category, a good book, and they think that means I don't like it. That's a good book. It means I really enjoyed it. Not bad. It means it has some problems. Some parts were kind of hard to get through. And then the last category I put just why. So, to be completely honest, I don't think anything's going to go in this category for this 6 months, but I'm going to keep these same rankings for next time. So, for the second part of 2025. By the way, it's 2025. How crazy is that? Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start then. I'm so excited! Also, for some reason, my computer made all of these backwards. So I'm going to pick from the bottom of the list each time to go up because I want to do from January to February, January to June. Alright, let's go ahead and start. So we have The Hogfather. Hogfather, some of these I'm going to have to like really remember. Hogfather, I remember being really good. I do remember though that I enjoyed the beginning a lot better than the ending. I feel like the ending was kind of weird and I didn't really like how it ended. So it's like, it's so hard because I really did enjoy it. You know what I mean? And so it should go in a good book, but nothing is going to go in not bad. You know what I mean? So it's really not a bad book. I just didn't like the ending. I wish I could like separate it into most of the book and then the ending wasn't that great. But I think if an ending is not that great, it has to go into not bad. So again, not a bad book. I enjoyed most of it, but endings I think are really important. So let's put it there. Next is Philosopher's Stone. Oh my gosh. It's just so nostalgic. You know what I mean? Philosopher's Stone, so amazingly nostalgic. Yeah, I think this is going to be our first awesome, oops, didn't mean to do that. Our first awesome for Philosopher's Stone. It's just such an amazing read. Very quick. I think I rushed through it a bit, but I still enjoyed it so much. And yeah, I think it's just an awesome read. I don't really have too much negatives to say about the first book. It's just so good. The beginning's classic. And because it's the first book, there's not the annoying recap. That's like one of my least favorite things about rereading Harry Potter is the recap. Alright, People Pleaser. People Pleaser was good, but not as good as her first book, in my opinion. It didn't hit me as much as I wanted it to, so I just, like, heard the title and I just expected it to, like, change my life. Just like her first book did. Her first book really changed my life. It was one of the first books I had ever read where it was like, oh my goodness, someone else feels this way. So I think I'm gonna put People Pleaser in and not bad. Yeah, probably here. Just because or else nothing else is gonna go there. Because everything else is like fantastic. I've had a really good read. So I think she might bump up to a good book in a bit when I really look at it. And these are all subject to change, honestly. If like after a while I look at it and I'm like, that's not really fair, I might bump both of these two up to a good book. It just depends on how my reading goes next 6 months. Alright, next is A Gathering Storm. I officially have finished The Wheel of Time. I'm not going to say any spoilers, so if you haven't read A Wheel of Time, you can still watch this. I will tell you, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to know where Wheel of Time books end up, this might not be the video for you, but if you're not that sensitive to spoilers, you can watch. I will tell you, Gathering Storm is now my favorite Wheel of Time book. So, it goes into a new fave. Very, very excited. I was very nervous about Brandon Sanderson because I don't really like the pacing of some of his books, so for him to take over the Wheel of Time, for it to be paced great, for all the characters to sound amazing, except for one perspective, which was still not that bad, yeah, it was fantastic, and the story with Rand and his growth in this book was fantastic. So, yes, and now it's gonna start to become hard, because now everything's gonna be like I want to put it in new fave. Okay, because the next one is Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile is still my favorite Agatha Christie. Now I've read, I think, 4 or 5 of them, and Death on the Nile is still my favorite, and it was my first. So Death on the Nile is still my favorite. Do I put it above or below Gathering Storm? I think below. It was very good. It was 5 stars. I knew she was excellent. I knew my family's obsessed with her, but I did not expect it to be like at the top. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's such a good book. Such great character studies, such great suspense, great twist at the ending. So, yeah, amazing book. Next is A Chamber of Secrets. And I think a lot of people put this lower than I think it deserves. I love Chamber of Secrets, like a lot. So, we are going to put it right below Philosopher's Stone. Below? Yeah, below. Right below Philosopher's Stone. It is an awesome book. I love Chamber of Secrets. It is right up there. I think the only negative I can remember is the recap. Maybe a little bit of the pacing, but still not that bad. It's still a pretty quick book. Yeah, I think Chamber of Secrets. Gilderoy Lockhart is hilarious in this book. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, next is, I believe, Men-at-Arms. Unfortunately, it doesn't really say the title because it's cut off, but it should be Men-at-Arms. Men-at-Arms really surprised me. I knew that the Night Watch series was people's favorites, but this one had just so many elements that I loved. It had a kind of monster that I adore. It had like math things, which was very unexpected and amazing and hilarious. It had the characters growing the way I kind of expected them to and really liked a lot. It had Carrot already, who was my favorite character, being so amazing, and I just really liked it more than I expected. You know what I mean? So it was like just fantastic. So now I'm kind of worried about where to put it. I think I want to be really strict with the new favorites category, the S. So I think I'm going to put it at the top of awesome, if it'll let me do that. Yeah, there it goes. The top of awesome. It's like right on the edge there of a new favorite, but not quite there yet, if that makes sense. Just because I want to be very strict about my new favorites. Alright, next is Murder at Orient Express. It also has really good characters, and it also has a really good twist at the ending. So I really, really enjoyed it, but the pacing was not as good as Death on the Nile. which is funny because it's a shorter book, but the pacing was not as good. So, I think I'm just putting it in, it was a good book. Still Agatha Christie, still amazing. The twist was really cool at the end. I really liked it. But it was just a good book. Alright, Towers of Midnight. Towers of Midnight wasn't quite as good at Gathering Storm. A couple of the characters kind of annoyed me, especially one. If you've listened to any of my Wheel of Time things, I think you know who was bothering me at the end, so I don't really want to say. One of the characters was really bothering me just because she's very, very full of herself, and she was getting kind of annoying. So Towers of Midnight, not quite as good as Gathering Storm, but still a good book. It was still pretty high up in my rankings. I'm not quite sure of the order, though. It's so hard to compare epic fantasy to these shorter books. You know what I mean? Like, these shorter books are so much fun and they're so digestible, but this epic fantasy series, first of all, it's hard to rank just because it's one piece of a 15-book series. So it's kind of annoying to, like, rank it. I think it's at the bottom of awesome. I think that's where I'm going to put it. Not my favorite. It's probably the lowest of the last 4. But that doesn't mean it's bad. You know what I mean? It's not... It was still a good book. Alright. Here's where I'm going to annoy the entire internet. Are you ready? Yay! Is Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, y'all know I famously dislike time travel. I don't think it works in Prisoner of Azkaban at all. It really does not work. And so, this is not my favorite. Some of the pacing is annoying. Some of it's just depressing and long. Lupin is the shining star of this book. The only reason that I still love it is Lupin. A lot of this book gets annoying. I think I did like it better than I expected to, because it's pretty far down there. It's like my second to the bottom. It's not my least favorite, it's my second least favorite. So I'm just gonna put it in a good book. Ta-da! Yeah, it was like, I still enjoyed it. It's a Harry Potter book. Like, I love all the Harry Potter books, but it's definitely not, like, up there, you know? Alright, the next one is A Murder at Styles. This one is my mom's favorite, Agatha Christie. But to be honest, I couldn't really figure out why. Why it was her favorite. It was good because it's Agatha Christie. It had good characters. It had a good twist. But it wasn't, like, memorable like the other ones that I've read. So I feel like it's one that I'm gonna forget. You know what I mean? I feel like I've forgotten details about it already. To be completely honest, I don't even remember who did it. So because of that, I'm going to put it at, not bad. I still remember enjoying it, but it didn't stick with me like all of her other, all the other Agatha Christie's did. So there I will put it. And I think also part of the reason I feel that way is because I was reading it around the same time as Timeline. So that's kind of unfair to it, but I was reading it at about the same time as Timeline. Alright, so we have Timeline. Where do I put Timeline? I think you all know where I'm gonna put Timeline. And it might shock you, but it is my favorite read so far in where we're at in the year. It's my favorite read. Favorite author, first of all, Michael Crichton is my favorite author. I don't know if you know that. I feel like some people just assume that Robert Jordan's my favorite author, just because I've been dedicating so much time to the Wheel of Time. But no, Michael Crichton is my favorite author, and Timeline is my favorite second favorite of all of his. And my favorite I did not read this year. So it is right up there. It was fantastic. It is very close to how much I love Jurassic Park, which is something I never thought I would say. I never thought any of his works would go close to Jurassic Park. So yeah, it was fantastic. All right. Next is Goblet of Fire. I really enjoyed this read through of Goblet of Fire. I don't really remember where I put it in my rankings of Harry Potter, but to be honest, I'm not really concerned about that. This is just this read through. What do I feel right now about it in this read through, if that makes sense? Let's see. I think it might beat these ones up here. And I think I did enjoy it a little bit better than Man at Arms. It was a very fun reread. I really enjoyed it during my read through of Goblet of Fire. All right. Next is Persuasion. Oh, I love Persuasion so much. This is where it gets really hard because I'm trying to be stingy about my new favorites. You know what I mean? I'm trying really hard not to put too many in this top rank. But Persuasion it's my second favorite of the Jane Austens. And it's so well paced, and the characters are so lovable, and the misunderstandings in it are believable. They're not like annoying kind of misunderstandings. They're like, oh yeah, that could happen kind of thing. Like some of Jane Austen, I would say, some of the misunderstandings are like, what is happening? That wouldn't happen in real life. Yeah, Persuasion. I think it does have to be a new fave, which is kind of funny because it's a reread. So maybe new is not the right word. Just, it's not a new favorite. It's an old favorite, but I think it still deserves the top spot. All right, Order the Phoenix. Order the Phoenix surprised me. I enjoyed it way better than I did so I don't know if y'all know about my Harry Potter. So basically, I've listened to them for a lot of times since college. I didn't read them as a kid. I was a little bit of a snob as a kid, to be honest. I was more of a Lord of the Rings person. So at college, I listened to them. I listened to them the 4 years of college, and then maybe 3 or 4 years after college, only listening. But then when I started really getting into, it was even longer than that, because the first time I read these was like 3 years ago in physical form. The first time I physically read them. So when I did that reread, I really didn't like Order the Phoenix, which was weird because I remembered liking it just fine as audiobook. And I do think it's pacing. In audiobook, pacing issues don't bother me quite as much. So this time around, I really enjoyed it. I read it quite a bit quicker. I'm a quicker reader, and I really did enjoy it a lot. So where am I going to put it? I think it is still just a good book. And I'm trying to decide if it is lower than Prisoner of Azkaban. And I think it is. I think it's lower than Prisoner of Azkaban. And I do think that I was a little unfair to Prisoner. Let me do this, actually. I think that's where it should be. Yeah. So it is lower. It is still my least favorite. But I was reminded all Harry Potters are good. So it is still a good book, and I really enjoyed it. All right, we're getting kind of close to the end. Thankfully, this isn't going on too long. I was scared it was going to be like an hour-long video. That's why I split it up in the half years, because if I don't split it up into half years, it's like hour-long video, and my phone doesn't have that much storage. So Memory of Light, I was very emotional the whole time reading this. I think everyone is when they read A Memory of Light for the first time. Most of it was wonderful and perfect, and I loved it. I do have some issues with the ending. They are not major. They are really not major. It doesn't ruin any kind of thing for the series. As soon as I finished this, I picked Eye of the World right back up. So that tells you a lot about how much I love this series. So don't get me wrong. Like, this series is still amazing. You know what I mean? Don't misunderstand me. So actually, I do think that I'm going to put this in awesome. Where do I put it? I think it is the top of awesome. If it'll let me do it. Oh, it cooperated. Did you see that? Most people, like, struggle to get it. It actually cooperated. That was awesome. Okay, the top of awesome. It is technically a new favorite, but again, I'm trying to be stingy. So I think, like, from Men at Arms up, like, that's technically a new favorite, but I'm not going to put it there. All right, next is Third Girl. Third Girl was very good. I really enjoyed it. There was one chapter that was a little slow. Other than that, it was fantastic. It was so good, and I really didn't, I like predicted one of the things from the ending, and that was really exciting. I really was very excited by it. That I actually predicted something, but I didn't predict all of it, so it wasn't like ruined that I predicted it. You know what I mean? Because there were pieces that I didn't get. So I actually don't have the same cover. I really like my cover better than this one. But anyway, I think this is the bottom of awesome. It was a really, really good one. I really enjoyed it a lot. I feel like I'm missing one. Am I missing? Oh no, it's over there. Again, the covers, most of the covers are the same covers I have, but one or two are different. Of the Agatha Christie's. All the other ones are the cover I have. All right. Then, like I said, as soon as I finished A Memory of Light, I went right back to the beginning and I started Eye of the World. These are I'm just audiobooking them. I'm not reading them physical copy. And I enjoyed Eye of the World a lot better than I remembered it. I just remember it being quite low down there in my rankings, and it is, like, it's not the best of them, but the pacing issues in Eye of the World really didn't bother me. Like I said, audiobook, so the pacing's very different. And I just enjoyed it. I finished it on my trip last weekend, driving down to my friends, so it was just kind of special. So where do I put it? It's always a question. I think I'm going to put it the top of a good book, if it would let me. Now I'm having trouble again. The top of a good book. It's such a good book. I wish it was higher in the Wheel of Time, the whole series, because then I think, like, more people would read the Wheel of Time. But thankfully the second one is higher, so if they stick it out for 2 books, they'll realize how special Wheel of Time is. I'm just sad that if you just read the first book, you might not know how special the Wheel of Time is. So if you've ever just read Eye of the World and you're like, what I would do is, like, rewatch a summary video of it and then read The Great Hunt. Because The Great Hunt is so special. And you'll see why people love Wheel of Time so much. You know what I mean? Alright, then we have Small Gods. The beginning, the characters, one of the characters was kind of annoying, the small god. And so at the beginning I was like, maybe this might be lower. But then each time I read it, like, he got funnier, and the ending was so good of Small Gods. So it's, like, up there now, which is kind of surprising. I feel like some people don't like this book. I wasn't really expecting to like it. I thought it would get annoying. And at the beginning he was a little annoying, but it got better. And then when at the end, when he gets powerful again, he was very, very funny. What should I call it? This is the problem, is that I just want to give awesome to everything, but that's not really fair. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good book. It's a good book. Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, and then we have the two that I'm reading right now. By the way, I am reading Infinitesimal, but I'm only at the beginning, and I paused it for a while, and it's a first time read, so I'm just gonna put it in July. These two I should finish by the end of June, so I'm gonna count them and their reread so I know where they go. Let's see. So Half-Blood Prince, I don't know if you know this, but Half-Blood Prince is my favorite of all the Harry Potters. So it deserves to go up here in New Fave. And I think it's the bottom of New Fave. It's so good. The beginning is the best of all the Harry Potters. It is funny. It is not rehashy at all. It doesn't rehash at all. It starts with the new minister, or the magical minister and the muggle minister talking, and it is the best chapter. One of my favorite chapters of the entire series. And then you just go to Spinner's End, and that's awesome and mysterious and creepy, and I love it. And then even when you go back to Harry, it's Harry and Dumbledore for kind of the first time. And yeah, kind of like the second time, I guess. But like, it's so good. And like I said, there's no rehashing. They don't explain who characters are again, which is the first time, because I was surprised in Order of the Phoenix how much they do that. I was like, this is the fifth book. Like, you shouldn't be explaining this again. So, Half-Blood Prince is the first one that they don't rehash. And so, I've just enjoyed it so much, honestly. And I'm not even to Hogwarts yet. But I will finish by the end of June. And I know where it is. This is a reread. And then A Great Hunt. The Great Hunt has really surprised me. It's my brother's favorite so far. He has read up to, he's in Lord of Chaos right now, which is the 6th. And Great Hunt is his favorite. And I've heard that it's some people's favorites. And I kind of forgot why. So I was kind of like, why is that? But now I kind of remember, because I'm like about halfway, a little bit further than halfway, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. So I'm going to put it in awesome. It's not as good as Memory of Light. Is it better than Goblet? It's better than Goblet. Okay, so I'm putting it here. Ta-da! So this is my halfway point of the year, and I've gotten to this point with no horrible books, no bad books, no why books, which is really exciting. So, and even the not bad, I could kind of make an argument for not putting that in the category. So, and again, all of the not bad books, I might bump up. If I get any lower than that, I'm probably going to bump them up to good book. Because they are good books. See, this is the problem. I'm just trying to be stingy and not put them all in the same place. But anyway, these are my rankings. Timeline is definitely the best book I've read this year. I'm really glad my dad read it, and he actually enjoyed it a lot too. I got through Wheel of Time, so that's very special. It'd be really funny if I caught up to myself, and so I read every single Wheel of Time book this year. I don't think that'll happen, but that would be really funny if it did. Yeah, you never know. So yeah, I think this is my rankings. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything. I would love to hear it. I am very wishy-washy about this, and I feel like this kind of thing can change just depending on mood. So yeah, we'll see when I do this in December. If I change my mind on anything. That would be very interesting to see. December or January. It'll be interesting to see if I change my mind on any of these. So yeah, really, really great reading. 21 books, 19 done, but 21 by the end of the month. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.